Greetings, I am your new Prezi-Desi, Donald Trump, here to make America great again.
Donald, my master, I found this video.
What's this? A video defying my power? Blasphemy! Kill it with fire, Mike.
But sir, it came from Britain.
Not after the Brexit. The UK can suck my ass.
Should we nuke the whole world while we're at it?
The world is my bitch. What's stopping us?
That was fun. We should blow up the Earth again sometime.
Hey, where'd the video go?
Congratulations, America! You've just gone through 18 months of presidential pregnancy. And guess what? On November the 8th, Election Day, you're finally about to give birth! Oh, the excitement, man! Will it be a boy? Will it be a girl? Well, what the fuck do you care, America? You're screwed either way!
Oh, I love this opening statement because literally the next video he releases after a whopping 4 days from this one talks about Trump winning, going like, I hope Donald Trump does a good job at being president. I mean, you're all getting screwed either way. Lamau! Yeah, thanks for wishing us luck, governor. Should have saved some for yourself. I assume my viewer base is aware of who GradeAUnderA is and how his reputation as well as his motivation for making videos self-destructed sometime in early 2017. But I myself was very late on coming into that scene, as I did like Grade's content for longer than most people did. However, I too had a breaking point, and it wasn't with his Keemstar videos. No, I didn't mind them that much. Rather, his political videos were my breaking point. Not video, videos. He made 5 of these bad boys. Now, to be fair, all of them varied in quality. The Hillary and Trump videos were alright, the last one was mediocre, and the first one is pretty shit, but this was the one where everything stopped clicking for me with Grade's content. Let's figure out why.
Listen, when you go to a restaurant, right, before you make your order, you sit down and you look at everything on the menu, right? Right, exactly. But in America, there are a bunch of people who don't do that for presidential elections. I find it fucking mental just how seriously some people take their right to vote, right? But don't give a fuck about making sure that they know about who they're actually voting for. Most people see their choice as either Trump or Clinton when there are other candidates. That is so unbelievably embarrassing, I'm ashamed for you. People take choosing their order at McDonald's more seriously than they do voting their fucking president.
Hey, wait a minute.
Listen, Americans complain all the time about only having 2 candidates, as they should, right? But despite the shit candidates you have right now, right? So many Americans still consider voting for a third-party candidate as a waste of a vote.
What the fuck is this? Okay, Grade, tell me, if most Americans do not know about the third party, then how come so many Americans say that the third party is a waste of a vote at the same time? That's not how it fucking works. I'm pretty sure the only way people would say that voting for a third party is a waste of a vote is if they knew about the third party in the first place.
Hey guys, Mike here to bring the possible counter-argument of Grade talking about people not considering the third party for reasons, instead of them not knowing about the third party.
Mike, you're a fucking idiot.
Mike will.
Look at these images. Would be cool if there was a third option though. Notice how Grade was putting Gary and Jill in a certain group of candidates who weren't considered in these images. And notice how Grade was very broad in general when saying other candidates in his statement. Grade was not talking about the former, and if he was, he presented himself very poorly.
Back in 2004, right, Democrat Howard Dean's presidential run was ended because he ended a speech with a little enthusiastic scream.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! Ah!
Did you hear that little scream, right? Yeah, that ended his presidential campaign. Fuck how good of a politician you might be, right? That scream is more important than anything else. And listen, what happened was, right, news reporters heard that scream and reported it as being unpresidential, and the brainless sheep public just agreed with it somehow. Unpresidential. Listen, that makes no fucking sense, right? Because if that little scream is unpresidential, if you fast forward 12 years to today, Americans now have to choose between such presidential behaviors as Donald Trump tweeting at comedians calling them pussies and Hillary Clinton pissing herself.
Okay, before I actually get into the point here, love that little text you snuck at the bottom there. Lol, this picture is fake by the way, but I kept it in because old people having accidents is funny, and she once wore, so fuck her. God damn, you'd have to have a magnifying glass to realize that this evidence was bullshit. Literally. That aside, I decided to look into this whole Howard Dean fiasco. According to a news outlet called Esquire, it is true that the Dean scream had its effect, but that wasn't the only factor that ended Howard's campaign. Howard's campaign lacked organization. His numbers were not holding up whatsoever. He fought with another person running the presidential race, which is a strategy that takes both parties involved down. Hell, before the Iowa caucus, he was barely in the lead and was clearly unraveling. And even if the Dean scream was the result of Howard's doom, do you think maybe people learned from that and realized it was stupid to follow the words of CNN, who have been notorious long before your video came into fruition for providing fake news? I mean, considering Donald Trump, a person who was accused of way more unpresidential shit than Howard Dean, ended up being one of the two possible candidates you could vote for in this race, I wouldn't doubt it. In general, people nowadays are incredibly skeptical towards news outlets that force a political agenda rather than provide accurate journalism. Hell, Howard Dean himself laughed about the situation he was in by reciting the speech the scream came from in a recent 2016 event. TLDR, this shit is false and outdated.
Now listen, let's just quickly get this out of the way, right? If I was American, who would I vote for? Okay, hear me out on this one, okay? In the same way that there are rules on the internet, right? There should be rules on what factors to consider for presidential candidates. If you want to steal my approach and take it as your own, please fucking do.
Hey, I want to make light of this text here. Don't consider this video a day late for the 2016 elections. Consider it 1,460-ish days early for the 2020 elections, K? Nothing important now, I just want to mention back come final thoughts time.
Part 1, and this should be rule number 2. Anyone who got to where they are today due to knowing someone influential, fuck them. Listen, they got to where they are because they had the unfair advantage of having influential people help them out. And that's bad. And if you don't believe me that that's bad, right, you clearly don't remember this guy. George Bush Sr. was president, right? And his fucking son, as luck would have it, right, also became president. And we all know how badly that turned out, don't we? That's what happens when someone who's in the position that they're in because of knowing someone influential gets presidency. And guess what, mate? Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton fall into these categories. Listen, it could be argued that Donald Trump wouldn't be where he is today if it weren't for his multi-millionaire dad. So fuck him. And also, right, Hillary Clinton wouldn't be where she is today if it weren't for the guy that she was fucking, or rather wasn't fucking, from the way things turned out, being a former president of the United States. She knew someone influential as well, right? So fuck her too. Listen, they did not rise to the top to the positions that they're at right now on their merits, right? They had an easy ride to the top because of their influential connections. If they didn't have the influential connections they did, right, she would still be a random lawyer helping child rapists avoid jail, and he would still be a leathery old man with an ugly wig.
Stop. I think we should take a look at how these people got into power in the first place. Donald Trump sure got to start with a small loan of $1 million. But it could also be argued that Donald Trump showed good reliability and management skills when he did end up paying back that loan with interest. But no, he knew someone influential, so I guess that means he took the easy route to the top, right? As for Hillary, she did have recognition before she became Bill Clinton's presidential fuck buddy, like being the First Lady of Arkansas, working on Jimmy Carter's campaign, and was one of the 100 most powerful lawyers in the US according to the National Law Journal. But nah, Bill Clinton did all the work for her. Okay. Also, who's to say George W. Bush got to where he was because of his father? According to the government website, George H.W. Bush was actually surprised to see his son interested in politics, and I don't see anything saying that he was responsible for his son becoming the governor of Texas, then moving into the White House. Sure, powerful people definitely helped these candidates to get where they were, but they weren't how they got to where they were. Now, a good example of a president that did get into the position he was in solely because of someone influential was John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, who was groomed to be president according to the same government source. However, according to sources outside of the government website, he was actually considered to be ahead of his time to the point where the government got in the way of a lot of stuff he wanted to do, and even then he was still responsible for the Monroe Doctrine, a legendary piece of American legislature. And even after his term was over, his impact kept expanding as he fought for the rights of black people under slavery. But oh wait, if Grade mentions John Quincy Adams, his point would be bullshit, and we wouldn't want that, now would we?
Again, when the promotion is around the corner, everyone will stay those extra hours at the office to look good to the boss. But you should be looking at who stayed extra hours when it didn't matter by looking at their pasts. And judging from their pasts, Donald Trump is not your fucking guy, and neither is Hillary Clinton your girl. But do you know who was? Bernie Sanders.
Oh god, here we go.
Bernie Sanders filibustered for over 8 fucking hours back in 2010 because he was against extending the Bush tax cuts for the rich.
We get it, Grade.
Bernie Sanders has supported gay marriage for fucking decades.
We get it, Grade.
And Bernie Sanders was fighting for equal rights for black people.
We get it, Grade.
Bernie fucking Sanders.
Holy shit. How many times do I have to say we get it? Yes, Grade. Quite frankly, he should have been one of the two we could have voted for. He would have beaten Donald Trump easily. However, he's not cause Hillary fucked him over. What are we supposed to do about that? Better question, what relevance does Bernie's specific doings add other than an example for something you've already conveyed enough during the parts I skipped? Why should we know this for the presidential election if he isn't even a candidate? Here's an idea. Stop dragging out your video with this pointless bullshit and focus more on the stuff that's actually relevant.
But similar to Bernie Sanders, right? Do you know who else has a long history of activism and going out of their way to help people and make a positive change, and even has a bunch of awards for doing so? In my opinion, Green Party candidate Dr. Jill Stein. Listen, go on Wikipedia and read up on her, right? Not only does she seem pretty fucking decent, right? But she seems a shitload better than Trump and Clinton.
You cannot be serious right now. Okay, so you go on this entire spiel about Bernie Sanders and all the wonderful things he's done, right? Even though he's not in the presidential race anymore. However, when you do get to someone who is in the presidential race, like Dr. Jill Stein, you just go like, yeah, look her up on Wikipedia, there's some good shit. Why? I mean, perhaps you were trying to save for time, but not only does that not excuse you from not bringing up at least a couple of examples, but you could have just cut out the Bernie Sanders part and all you would have lost is a slight comparison. Actually, no, you could have just mentioned Bernie Sanders in passing, and then go more in depth with Jill Stein, cause I don't know if you know this, but the certain things politicians do are more important to people than comparisons and behemoths of Wikipedia articles. Grade. To re-emphasize, the title of your video is everything you need to know about the presidential election, not everything Grade wants you to look up after viewing this video. And honestly, this is all ignoring the fact that your title would promise something more informative than argumentative. Just goes to show you fail on all fronts.
And I know what a lot of you are going to say, right? They're not going to win, Grade, therefore it's a wasted vote. Okay, let's analyse that statement. They're not going to win. Yeah, no shit, mate. At this stage, the fucking day before the election, right, they're not going to win. But it's a wasted vote? No. Now listen, voting third party is not a waste of a vote. Winning the presidency in America is all about, most importantly, money. Not politics, right? Money. And did you know that America apparently has some law, right, where if a third-party candidate can get 5% of the vote, the Federal Election Committee officially classifies them as a minor party, at which point they get access to upwards of $10 million to fund their next campaign in 2020. Did you know that? Probably not, right? Well, you do now. So do you see how getting above 5% would totally be a win for third-party candidates? Listen, Dr. Jill Stein, in my opinion, seems like a really fucking good candidate, right? But there's also Gary Johnson too, so you make your choice. But research them both and consider voting for either of them. But listen, don't just take my word for it though. Read up on them yourselves. 5% would be a huge win for them both.
Yes, cause $10 million is so much. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton raises $500 million for her campaign, and Donald Trump raises $350 million. Even with the $12 million Gary Johnson raised, $22 million is not enough for a successful campaign unless someone is Donald Trump levels of rich, which neither Gary nor Jill Stein are. Basically, it's a shot in the dark. Grade, a good chunk of America would love to have more than two parties, but the problem lies in our system where third parties take away votes, have barely any chance in our government, and more exist in smaller parts of our government to coexist with major parties. They're not a waste, but them getting 5% of the votes are not a huge win either, considering we're talking about the fucking presidential elections here. Since the video is basically over, I'll just give my final thoughts. Grade, we're both poorly drawn stick figures. That's cool. But this video is a train wreck. You went on irrelevant tangents, contradicted yourself, and didn't really bother to show that much research on a lot of your claims. But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. This video is so much of a train wreck that you didn't even release it on time. You released it while the election was going, probably while everyone was waiting in line outside to vote. Hell, some people may have already casted their ballot through the mail at the time of your video's release. Yet here you were. And you were even aware of this while editing your video by putting in this text joke, and yet you still released it thinking it would do anything. You know what? Fuck it. This isn't even about you anymore. To everyone. If you want to persuade people to vote for your political beliefs, that's all fine and good. But please, start doing so before the ballots are open. Because I guarantee you, when the ballots are open, it's gonna be either too late to change people's minds, people may have already made up their minds, or you'd just be preaching to the choir. Or, if I'm being generous, you'll only persuade a handful of people instead of reaching to a wide audience, and that's not gonna leave much of an impact in a majority of cases. Once again, being generous. I know this may be a bit of a pessimistic viewpoint for some people, but timing is so crucial when it comes to shit like this that you'd practically be in denial if you couldn't see these outcomes put into play. And besides, this is nothing compared to other political beliefs. But enough of that. Back to Grade. Please, please, please come back to YouTube. We seriously need more stick figure representation on this website. Look, I'm sick of all the oppression being lobbied towards our race. Oh, stick figure oppression doesn't exist. You shut your fucking mouth. You see this video right here, right? This is racist as fuck. It's propaganda to turn you away from us because they want you to think that stick figures are that retarded. Well, we're not. Hashtag stick figure lives matter!